We think we protect people by softening the truth, but Spirit once told me she cannot heal based on a lie. Even when judicial systems fail to provide justice, the truth actually is the only thing that allows us to move forward. This is a story of a young man who gave me proof. The white Nikes, the prayer engraved inside of the ring, and the medical reality of hemothorax, because he wanted to ensure that the real story was finally told. I haven't always been so open about my gift. For a long time, it wasn't something I advertised or even discussed actually with people. This was simply a part of me that I tried to hide and keep to myself, even though I knew it was a gift that was meant to help others. This ability is actually what helped me through my personal losses. This is the ability that guided me as I learned to navigate life again after experiencing what I personally believe is the most difficult thing that anyone will ever experience. Because of this, I was actually torn. I wanted to help people, but I just wasn't ready to be open about the nature of how I received my information. I kind of looked for a solution that felt safe, something that was acceptable to the world around me, something that would allow the message to be received by a grieving person. At the same time, I feared the healing effect itself would be rejected because it would be replaced with judgment. I really wanted to give a message of reassurance, because I understand all too well what it feels like to lose the one you love. So I actually started giving people messages, but I hid the source. Instead of telling them I was communicating with the field, with the spirit, I simply resorted to a common explanation, an explanation that is accepted by most people. I simply told them that I had a dream. I did attempt a few times with people who were close to me to tell them, and I know they acted out of the best intentions to protect me. So usually they said to me, "Don't tell anyone because people will think you're crazy." But then actually everything changed for me. I encountered a spirit who refused to let me hide behind the dream narrative. It was a spirit of a young man, and he was adamant. He didn't just suggest I talk to his mother. He demanded it, of course, through what I would call a gentle encouragement. When I was aware of him, when I was aware of his presence, I communicated with him. I understood that he actually wanted me to locate his mother and to speak with her. In my mind, I was not ready. I simply was not ready to tell anyone. I was actually terrified. I thought, if I contact this woman, she's gonna think that I'm crazy. She's gonna think that I am intruding on her grief. So I tried to push him away. I told him, "Sorry, but I really cannot do this." As a communicator, I've actually learned to close the channel, to close the communication, and that's exactly what I did. But the connection never really closes because we are all connected. And even if we consciously don't want to participate, spirit consciousness still has a way of communicating with us and getting our attention. So actually, that night as I went to bed, I could feel him standing next to me. I don't see them with my physical eyes as we see other people, but they can show me an image in my mind, and I can also feel their energy. I can feel their emotions. The best way that anyone could understand this is If you were to imagine standing next to a hot radiator with your closed eyes, you can see the body of the radiator and feel the heat coming from it. That's close to how it feels. I just wanted to get some sleep, but all of a sudden, Lucy, my dog, just jumped up, stood right there where I could feel his presence, and she was barking her head off until I finally got up and picked her up. And I was like, see, there's no one here. Later, when I communicated with him, he explained that his intention was not to scare her. He just wanted to get my attention. The next morning, when I was drinking my coffee, just sitting in silence, a spoon I left in my sink started rattling, really loud and noticeable. Even my dog Lucy heard it and raised her head, looking behind me exactly where the kitchen sink was. It actually occurs when a consciousness from the field, which is essentially a high-frequency energy, or soul in this case, interacts with the physical density of our environment to get our attention. I'll explain some other time what they told me about how they can affect physical matter when they want to get our attention. Later during the day, when I went for a walk, even though I didn't want to communicate, he actually still found the way to reassure me by placing lyrics in my mind. Lyrics so specific to his account, I just could not ignore. For anyone wondering how this feels, it's like your mind goes blank. You're not thinking, not aware of any thought, and all of a sudden you notice that you have a sentence or a verse on repeat in your mind, like over and over again. So I finally gave in. I chose to do it, even if she thinks I was crazy. And I said to him, if you want me to do this, you actually have to give me proof. I need specifics that I could not possibly know. I need things that aren't just acceptable guesses. And he didn't hesitate. He started showing me the data files of his life, and he began to stream data into my field of awareness. First, he showed me a ring. He didn't tell me what it said, but he showed me that it had something holy engraved inside of it. Later, I saw that ring on his mother's finger. After I told her, she took it off of her finger and showed it to me. The inside of it was actually engraved with the words. It was like a prayer of hope to God. Then he showed me his clothes. He showed me his white Nike shoes. Later, Mother showed me that he had a shelf on a wall in his room, and this is actually where he used to display them. He also spoke about a very specific shirt, just one shirt. He kept repeating over and over, one shirt, one shirt. When I finally spoke to his mother, she confirmed it all. She told me, I am wearing his shirt all the time, just one of his shirts all the time. But then actually the most undeniable proof came when he showed me how he died. When the communication needs to be undeniable, a soul can tap into our somatic system, the physical connection between our consciousness and our physical body. I can physically feel what they feel, including all the physical sensations. So I felt a sudden crushing weight in my chest and a struggle for air. I was gasping for air, like I couldn't breathe. This wasn't an emotion of grief. It was a physical playback of what he had experienced. He was showing me through my own lungs and heart exactly where the medical narrative and the truth meet. Later, when I said to his mother, she told me he had been shot in the heart. So I asked him again and I said, your mother says that you were shot in the heart, but you are showing me grasping for air. And then I heard I drowned. I asked again, how did you drown? He pushed the word hemothorax into my mind. He told me he was drowning. Just to add that I had no idea what hemothorax was, and I literally had to Google it. Family was able to collaborate this. The bullet hadn't just hit his heart, it had pierced his lungs. He didn't just pass away, he experienced the internal drowning of a hemothorax. At first, when I spoke to his mother, I tried to soften the blow. I told her it may have been an accident and that the perpetrator most likely regrets his actions. I was afraid that if I shared the full truth as it came through, it would just cause more pain. I wanted to protect her. How do you explain to someone who loves a child so deeply that their loss involved intentional harm? How do you even convey something so painful when they have already endured so much grief? But the boy's spirit stepped forward and corrected me with the force I will actually never forget. He said, you need to stop telling her what you think she needs to hear and tell her the truth. She's tired of lies she cannot heal based on a lie. He showed me a bit of what happened behind the scenes. He said he was led to a place he didn't really want to go. Lured is the term that he used, though I don't know exactly where that was. Mediums don't get the whole picture, just pieces meant for the person receiving the message. He made it very clear to me that it wasn't just an accident, and he kept emphasizing that there was no remorse behind what had happened. In that moment, I realized that my silence wasn't protecting her. It was actually keeping her trapped in a loop of distortion. When I finally surrendered and I told her exactly what he said, something shifted. The weight didn't get heavier, it just became solid. She confirmed that while the defense was pushing the accident narrative, she had always known in her heart it was a lie. By telling her the truth, I wasn't giving her more pain. Even though I believed that initially, I was actually giving her sanity. I was providing the evidence she needed to trust her own intuition over the distortions of a failing system. That was the moment I stopped hiding behind the dreams. I realized that being a bridge isn't about being liked or being acceptable. It's about being accurate. This young man's spirit didn't just deliver messages for his mother, and it didn't only affect her life, he changed mine. Sometimes we may not get the desired results. The judicial systems can fail us, and sometimes things are hidden, twisted to fit a narrative. Maybe that spirit coming to tell the truth, Mother already felt in her heart when some were calling her crazy, was actually an answer, the only answer she could get to a hope and a prayer she had engraved in her ring. And the answer was, "You were right, Mom. You were right all along."